welcome to Gardening Jeans. Kathy here. I haven't posted any videos in the last couple of months, mostly because of the fact that we've had a busy summer, but also because I was desperately in need of some new audio-visual equipment. And now with some new devices in hand, I am looking forward to showing you what the garden looks like now. It is the last week of July, and the garden changes dramatically from season to season. Most of our garden beds are mixed beds with shrubs and perennials in them. We have a lot of hydrangeas and a lot of other flowering shrubs that we get to enjoy throughout the season. So every time we come out in here and look, there's something different in bloom, which really is the key to making a beautiful garden, having things that are in bloom at different points in the season. So this is a rather large garden, and we have quite a few different beds. So I am going to break this video, this garden tour, into a few different pieces and post them separately. So today, let's get started with the Crescent Bed, which is one that has the most hydrangeas in it. I hope you enjoy it. This corner of the Crescent Bed is anchored by a very large magnolia tree, so it gets quite a bit of shade. And you can see that we've got a small boxwood hedge here with all gold conocloa grass behind it. And behind that is a runcus. Now, a runcus is sort of like a stilbe on steroids. And at this time of year, the flower heads are just turning to seed and they're sort of drooping down. But I do like the foliage on it, and I think it makes a nice accent. As we continue on, you can see that we've got some beautiful hydrangea. This is one that has baffled me for years. The tag was wrong on the plant when I bought it. I thought it was going to be a mountain hydrangea, a lace cap. Turned out to be this beautiful mop head, and the flowers are gorgeous on it. It does seem to bloom on old and new growth. It is larger than I wanted. I thought I was buying something that was going to be very short, and this thing is 5 feet tall. But at this point, I'm not going to move it. Behind it are some lace cap hydrangea. These are mountain hydrangea, Hydrangea serrata. And of course, the blue of the hydrangea is set off by the bottle tree. I do like blue, and I spent years collecting Sky vodka bottles because I loved the blue color and thought that they would look nice in the garden with the hydrangea. This hydrangea doesn't have much in the way of blooms on it. This is another one of the ones that we moved this spring. This is a Let's Dance Blue Jangles. You can see that it's got a couple of flowers on it, but again, I was expecting this because I cut it way back when we moved it. Behind the bottle tree, there are a number of lace cap hydrangeas. They're all mountain hydrangeas, tough stuff red, regular tough stuff. And these are passing a little bit at this point, only in the sense that the flowers were a more brilliant color a little earlier in the season. And they go from a very bright blue to sort of a mauvey blue color as the season progresses. But I don't think that that takes away from their beauty. Now, this hydrangea is actually a lace cap that is a Hydrangea macrophylla, whereas the mountain hydrangea, the tough stuffs, are Hydrangea serrata. This is one that's called Twist and Shout. I haven't been in love with this hydrangea because it tends to be floppy and I have to do quite a bit of staking on it, but the color of the flowers is quite beautiful. And as much as I keep threatening to get rid of it, I just staked it up well again this year and decided I was going to put up with it again. Now to the foreground, there's an invincible spirit, hydrangea. And all of these flowers were very, very pink early in the season. And they're starting to change now. You can see that they age from this very, very nice light pink color to more of a sort of green and mauve mix. Now this is a hydrangea that is an arborescens type, what you might call an Annabelle type. They bloom on new growth. So if you go in and you start cutting back some of this old flower growth, you will have it put out new buds. And you can see that it's done so right here. We've got some nice new buds. And these will get larger and we'll actually have some nice bright pink flowers in probably a month's time. And I am going to come and I'm probably going to take out maybe half of the ones that are passing, or the color has passed at this point, to get that new growth for the fall. Now if we walk behind the invincible spirit a bit, we can get a better view of that Let's Dance moonlight. This one is really nice for drying, and I do like drying hydrangea flowers at the end of the season, and they will last through to the following year and they will maintain their color beautifully. Next to that, we have a panicle type hydrangea. This one is a little quick fire. It starts out bright white and then it takes on this pink color, and it will actually be nearly all dark pink or a light red by the time September comes around. Now here's a really big hydrangea. This is a PG hydrangea, and this one, the buds are formed and they have not formed into full flowers yet. This one comes late in the season, but it will be absolutely covered with fluffy white blooms probably within the next month. This is a panicle type hydrangea, and it's big, so you need a lot of space if you want one of these. Now, of course, besides hydrangeas, this garden bed has a number of other smaller shrubs and perennials. We have boxwood, fern, things like sedum, and here is some really lovely Veronica. This one's called Eveline. The roses are in a rest period right now, even though there are a few blooms on them. They've been fertilized, they've been deadheaded for the most part, and they should be producing some new flowers next month. Here's some more Veronica. And of course I've got lamb's ear just about everywhere. Now, I've always got projects going, and you can see that this area is one that I very recently cleared out. This is beneath the panicle hydrangea, the PG, and the PG is huge. It's got to be 15 feet tall and 20 feet wide, and it produces an awful lot of shade. There were some hosta under here and I had them fenced in a bit, but I honestly was unable to really protect them from the critters. And you can see there's one here that I haven't dug out yet, and it's very much eaten. So I'm going to come up with a new strategy for this spot, probably putting in some things like Brunnera and Ligularia, things that can take the shade that aren't a magnet for deer and rabbits. As we move down, we have some lovely Stokesea here that's just really getting going. This is Peachy's Pick. Behind that, some nice Autumn Joy sedum, which again will be in bloom later in August. And more Shasta daisies. Behind that, next to the blue bottle tree, you can see another hydrangea in the Annabelle group. That one is actually an Invincible Ruby, and that's another candidate to be deadheaded at this point, so it'll have some rebloom. In the background, there's a clethra that is just forming its flower spikes. I really like this plant because when it does bloom, it has an amazing honey scent. In front of that is a butterfly bush that I really like. That's Miss Molly. We can take a better look at that Miss Molly. It has very beautiful kind of jewel colored blooms. And this is another one that you really don't have to worry about it reseeding all over the place. It is mostly sterile. The flowers are just coming out on this hibiscus, and they really look lovely, especially with that variegated foliage. I love that look. Here is another panicle hydrangea. This is another little quickfire, and this one has turned pink a little faster, I think, than the other one. The other one was in more shade. I think that's really quite beautiful. As I mentioned earlier, this is one that will turn almost completely pinky red as the fall progresses. As we move along, here is another Rose of Sharon, getting ready to bloom. We also have some lemony lace sambucus tucked in here, and I kind of like how this looks, where you get the little quickfire to the left, some lemony lace sambucus kind of entwining through it, and then next to that is a bobo hydrangea with its beautiful white blooms. Both the bobo and little quickfire are panicle hydrangeas, and both of those were severely cut back this spring in order to create more growing tips because they do bloom on new growth. Here's another Annabelle type hydrangea, and behind that is actually a type of dogwood. This is a variegated dogwood called wolf eye, and it had beautiful, beautiful white flowers in the spring. Under the wolf eye dogwood is another hydrangea that I really like. This is an incredible, and you can see that it has some white blooms on it and some that have gone very, very green as they age. Let's take a closer look at this incredible. If I put my hand in here, I can give you an idea of how big these flowers actually are. And they are very, very large. You can see there are bees in here. This is another one that blooms on new growth. So a little bit of deadheading, and you can have this wonderful mix of both white and green at the same time on the plant. Below it, we've got some nice allium in bloom. And this is another area that I'm reworking. There was some junk growing in here. I'm trying to dig it all out. But we do have some nice roses, and some of them are still looking fairly fresh. Corner of the crescent bed has a little hedge of hydrangea here. Some of the lace cap here, which are pretty much finishing in the sense that the color has left them. They were very, very blue earlier in the season. And some very, very nice mophead hydrangea. The color really changes on these. As you can see, the newer flowers are very, very blue. And then they turn to this almost sort of burgundy looking color. This is an old variety. I honestly am not even sure what it is, but I enjoy it anyway. Another hydrangea that's notable, and this is sort of behind the corner of the crescent bed, is this oak leaf hydrangea. And this is a ruby slippers. It has really gotten big over the years. But this is one that starts out white and then it turns this beautiful shade of red, I guess. And it holds that color well into the fall. Oak leaf hydrangea or Hydrangea crucifolia are ones that I try not to prune at all because they are a little bit finicky and they bloom on last year's old wood, and you have to be careful not to trim off the blooms. Although this one has gotten so big, I may have to do a little bit of pruning. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again next time on Gardening Genes. In the meantime, have a wonderful day in your garden.